Salutations, my friend. I am Jeremy Tank, and today I am sharing with you the 3 steps to reimagine your business and completely transform your brand. And what this involves is combining your story, what you're sharing with the world about what you do, with the power of research, design, and marketing to reimagine your business identity and transform how your brand is perceived, which helps your business grow and keep going, right? And we do that by both connecting with your employees and ideal customers, which allows you to sidestep competition, avoid change, confusion, and stagnancy. It's really amazing. And I call this process behavioral branding. And I just want to say we have a lot of information to go over today, so sit back, get comfortable. Definitely please take some notes for things that sound like they appeal to you, they sound like they could work for you. I have 3 case studies at the end of this presentation that I'm going to share that walks you through all the different steps involved in this transformation and what it means and what it can do for you. So right off the bat, I want to share that this process has been used with lots of business owners so far, and whether it's the business owners themselves or their management teams or even sometimes marketing teams, this process helps them connect with customers and get attention. It is a fantastic process. You see, I use a lot of sticky notes, a lot of brainstorming. We call it design thinking. And it's just a great way to get people on the same page talking about the same things. But first, let me start with just a little story to show you the parts of this process, this 3 steps, and why they're important. So I want you to just imagine Dave, and Dave is going to go ahead and start a business like anybody else starting a business. Maybe you've been there. You know, there's a thought that you just go out into the world and things are super easy. You start making money. Well, really quickly, Dave finds out that business is an exchange of value. You can't just give somebody what you do. You need some money in return, right? And by token, when they hand over money, they want an equal exchange of what that money means to them. So I created a process called My Power Story. And over on the left-hand side, I'm just imagining that's me for a moment. And what am I offering the world? What is my value that I'm bringing? See, I value money in exchange for my brand building expertise because I have a fun, repeatable process that I have learned and perfected. And that process is supported by a 25-year career in advertising, marketing, and branding design. And I appreciate money to pay my bills, support my family, and build a life I love. And on the other side of this relationship is my customer, my client, who tells me, Jeremy, I value your brand building expertise in exchange for money because I will use your ideas to make more money and life will be awesome. And see, that's the point. That is an exchange of value that I feel is absolutely fair and valid. So the first step in this process is My Power Story. It's figuring out how these two audiences connect with each other and helping them bridge that gap. And the next gap is called the sunk cost gap or the time waste gap. And it's really where you go from having one person that you can talk to about that to having multiple people out there and a larger audience that you're trying to communicate with and talk with. And the problem here is that there is a lot of testing and failing and learning because this is all about mass communication. This is all about marketing and creating something once that reaches multiple people. And with this process, I was like, ooh, there's got to be something in there in the middle to help fix that. So I created creative alignment. And creative alignment is just a way to reverse engineer what people need to see and hear. And it's called alignment because we are using My Power Story as the base, the words that actually are meaningful. And in creative alignment, we are combining that with pictures that your audience needs to see. And what happens, you can see by this yellow line, is that over time, revenue increases because more people pay attention. And as that brand is presented consistently through that look, that feel, that alignment, more people pay attention, more people go on to buy the product and share about it. That's a growing business. That is a powerful place to be. And the last piece of this, the last step and stage in this entire thing, is where, let's pretend our character Dave gets his marketing dialed in and he's doing well and he's growing his business, and he hits a point where he knows he can get more customers. He sees a broader audience out there, but they need a little different type of communication. They need a different type of appeal, a different type of message. Otherwise, if he doesn't change some of what he's doing, he can still have his core audience, but he's just trying to figure out how he can make that leap, make that next step. And so the question I want to ask, if you are looking at this and hearing this, if you are a business owner facing that same thing, like you have your core audience and you want to be bigger, is now a good time for branding? And I know there's going to be some people out there that say, well, now's a good time for marketing. That's what it should be, marketing. And I agree, but I'm going to actually take it back a little further of figuring out, what is branding and how can branding help you so that you stay in your audience's mind longer for a more relevant reason. So this is where we're going to approach. This process is really for business owners and CEOs who want business growth, brand recognition, and aligned teams. Aligned teams mean that your managers and your employees know what they're doing, understand how they are contributing to the end goals of the business, and every day have a purpose to their actions. So this process, really, this behavioral branding process, is internal and external to the company. And it's for the business owners, the CEOs, who want this growth, want this recognition, want this mind share of their audience, right? So you have a vision for what you're building. You know what you're moving towards, but you want new ideas on how to get there or what to do next, because sometimes that end goal is easy, but the different steps along the way is a little more challenging. And you need the results to be well received. You need the audience to pay attention, to purchase your products, your services, and to keep growing your company. So because of that, we're going to include a bit of creative flair to get attention. And that creative flair grows attraction for your business, because without attention, there is no business, right? When you are relevant, you grab attention. When you're interesting, you grab attention. When you say something that people need internally, they pay attention. That is all about getting attention. And without attention, there's just no business. So you're going to grab their attention a little bit with some creativity, and you also want the business to look good. You're trying to build your reputation, you're trying to build that trust factor. You're trying to really hone what you're growing, again, for longevity, for strength, for all that sort of stuff of the company. And this really, in a nutshell, is the method that $500 million businesses, $500 million businesses end up, right? They all use this same basic process to build dedicated tribes, community, and customers, raving fans who absolutely love what they do. So I have to come back to the branding versus marketing thing. Some people, when they say they want that, let's go backwards one. Some people say when we're at this point, all you need is more marketing. You just have to turn that marketing dial and scale upwards. But there is a fundamental difference between being that smaller company and being the company that is poised for exponential growth. And part of that is in branding. Part of that's how you look at yourself, your audience, your customers, and your business. You see, branding defines why someone should choose your business. It is not just about what they're getting out of it. It is about who they are because of that. And Simon Sinek actually says people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And it's based in very primal instincts within our brain. He calls it the limbic brain. It's also the hippocampus. It's a part sort of in the base in the back of our brain that really processes emotional stimulation before logical stimulation. And that's what this why is all about. And branding is really about telling people what emotional state you help them reach because of the products that you are helping them with or the services that you are helping with. And the other thing about branding, it's not just, helping people understand the why, it's about making sure you stand out. It is an intentional act of standing out. See, the economists at Harvard Business School say that differentiation is one of the most important strategic and tactical activities that every company really needs to constantly do. Day in and day out, you need to be examining, what is everybody else doing and how am I standing apart from that? Because that same part of the brain that Simon Sinek says why, is really intrigued by is also that primal sort of the brain that says anything that stands out could be dangerous or it could be beneficial to me. And I need to pay attention to it more intensely to figure out which one of those things it is. So differentiation is helping your product, your service, your everything stand out from all the other competition who, frankly, are sort of boring at this point, right? And at the master's program in the Branding School of Visual Arts, they basically are teaching that branding is deliberate differentiation. And this is where the research part of this entire thing comes in. You have to understand, looking at this is all the different white little stand up people at the bottom. That's like all your business. When everybody is just standing out there like that, they all look the same. But by doing something different, you stand out. By choosing to do something different, you are then participating in branding. That's a super powerful, important factor to help your business grow. And the thing is that branding is used in business to reset differentiation. Because over time, other competitors start to do the same thing, which can wear away at your market share, it can wear away at your business, and that sucks. So branding is used when that sort of thing happens to reset differentiation. And the process of that is boosting growth. You see on the left hand side here, as your business starts to grow, you can use branding there to get a jump start on growth, to start to look like something different and start to speak a little different so that, boom, people just pay attention and you get massive growth. It can also happen to transform for growth. So if things aren't going so great, you change how things are going, you change the conversation, and that causes growth because others will start to see you in a completely different light. So if we jump back to Dave here and sort of just take a look at what that might look like, you know, if Dave has reached his core audience and he's starting to grow, but what does that look like for him? He goes ahead and does this process, and it changes who his business is on a fundamental level, both internally and externally. And what results is he speaks to more customers, he brings in new customers, creates new processes, and can adapt. Maybe he opens a new location, and that is really exponential growth right there, right? So that's the sort of thing that we're doing here. We're systemizing brand, we're thinking about things in a way that cause exponential growth. Alternatively, maybe Dave doesn't do anything, and there's a whole bunch of other businesses that open up around him doing basically the same thing. And customers, when they don't see a reason to choose one place over another, they're going to go probably for the cheapest price. Again, that has something to do with our brains. It's the way that we perceive loss versus gain. We will work harder to keep $1 in our pocket than to spend $1 in something that we want. And what happens is that customers sort of slowly go away. And what happens in the market, in the business, is a business will start to fade a little bit. And that is a great time to transform for growth. Maybe what we were doing before isn't as profitable. Maybe it's time to rethink that and take a new step in a bold new direction. And that's what this picture is showing is, look, there is opportunity to be had there to change the way we think about things. And that is transformation for growth. So looking at this specific point in time, I'm going to go ahead and say now is a good time for branding. Now is the perfect time to take advantage of the momentum you have before something could happen that it starts to edge off a little bit. And this is where the 3 steps in this process come in. And what we're going to do is really use branding to reposition your entire business, to reframe the story that you're telling about yourself and your customers so that it can speak to more people in a more broad sense or a more specific audience that actually has a lot more growth for you. And then we're going to transform the perception for your business growth. We're going to transform how people see and interact with you so that it creates a massive difference and causes this exponential 10x kind of growth for you. And in each of these stages, we're going to ask kind of a really core question that everything goes around. So in the first stance, we're going to ask, is everyone sharing a consistent story? Does every customer that comes into your shop understand the same story about who you are and why you offer your services, your products the way you do? Does every employee who's helping that customer understand the same story? Are they sharing it consistently? Are they sharing it in a way that is meaningful? Are all the employees behind the scenes, not customer facing, also sharing in that consistent story and understanding how they're contributing to the growth of that story? That's actually a really, I'm very passionate about it, but it's actually a really important thing to keep employees engaged and happy in an age where our latest numbers coming back are that 85% of employees are disenfranchised, disengaged, and frankly ready to quit and go do their own thing, only they don't feel able to. Well, when we understand the stories that are being told and sharing those across, we understand our place, our position, and help support the passion of the things that we're helping build as an employee. I've been there several times, so I understand, and that's part of the reason this process, this behavioral branding, is really a baby to me. It like feels so good to help other people understand that aligning these things is really important for your brand to grow. The next step of this is, what do my customers expect? Every customer goes into this relationship with you for your products, your services, expecting certain things. They have worked with others perhaps in your field or worked with other people outside of your field, and they have certain expectations. And it's our job to explore those expectations so that we understand, what do we need to fulfill? What do we need to match? And how can we surprise and engage and delight them above and beyond that factor? That's how we get people to really resonate and respond, is by surprising people and adding delight into something that they didn't expect and really going above and beyond. But we have to set the baseline of what's expected in order to design additional steps that make an impact and make a difference in the perception, in your customers' following, in building a community. And the last step of this is really, how does my brand grab attention? What choices have we made that help my brand, my business, stand out from others like my business, stand out from other products like my products, stand out from other services that I provide? How am I different? And then how do I show that difference in words, in pictures, in experiences, in all sorts of sensory things, in music maybe, in smells? These are the ways that we interface with brands. These are the ways that we interface with businesses. And again, it comes back to expectations and the story. So each of these things are built on the process before it to understand and correctly position this business to move forward and expand in a big way. So I'm just going to take a moment and introduce myself at this point. My name is Jeremy Tank, and I have a lifelong pursuit to help others through my talents. And I am a Renaissance man. I am multi-talented in advertising, marketing, branding, writing. I started to teach myself how to draw when I was 7 or 8, and I really wanted to be an animator, so I kept drawing cartoons like crazy, comic books, you name it. I went to 2 different fine art high schools and graduated valedictorian. I was actually trained as a fine artist, drawing, painting, sculpture, you name it. But I found that I really wanted to do art that made a difference, and I felt that the fine art world was okay, but it wasn't making a difference for people. So in college, I studied design, and I graduated with best portfolio, with some fun projects that were all about like movie themes and movie posters and standees and really cool things that nobody else was really doing at the time. right out of high school. Actually, that work with my movie idea got me a job in advertising as an art director right out of college. And I worked there for about 6 years, after which I joined a pharmaceutical company as one of the company's senior designers, working on packaging, working on ad campaigns, video, trade show booths, a whole bunch of different stuff. It was super exciting and fast paced. And then I joined a company out in Seattle, Washington, as the company's senior designer. Again, I was designing packaging and websites, all sorts of advertising. I actually redesigned the process of manufacturing the products and the CDs that the company made and sent out. And then in 2017, I went back to school and I got a master's degree in design, and I graduated valedictorian because I wanted to update my skills, make sure I understand, what's actually going on that could be the most benefit to businesses. So over the last 25 years, I've written and designed ads, flyers, tickets, posters, billboards, websites, funnels, videos, banners, electronics, trade show booths, commercials, business cards, and so many logos I've lost count. And in the process of all of that, I learned photography, lighting, videography, sound editing, video editing, acting, improv, comedy, all sorts of different things that really support what my clients need, what I wanted to bring to them, and all of the stuff that changes how we share stories with each other, because stories in advertising and marketing are really motivating factors. And then in 2021, I became certified as a rapid transformation therapy, hypnotherapist, and a magnetic mind coach. And the reason I did that was, one, out of curiosity, because I wanted to figure out how the mind understands our experiences of life and how that perception can be changed, shifted, and directed in certain ways. And what I gained from that was, it helps me understand that I am inspiring the right solutions at the right time to the right people, and I am using these skills to guide people to strategically ideal outcomes. You want to grow your business? Great. Using these skills in this way, in this order, helps you create the ideal outcome that you want. That is the point of this entire process. Building the company that you want, with the vision that you want, with the products you want, with the team that you want, and the customers you want to create the future you want. Doesn't that sound great? That's what I feel like we all really want. And what all of that taught me, all the learning about the mind taught me, was that in doing this branding for 25 years, it's really a collection of feelings, words, and pictures. Those are the things that the mind, the brain, recognizes and analyzes and collects: feelings, words, and pictures. And when we're doing branding, we're using these things to influence others. We're helping share how we feel through the words and the pictures that we use to influence others. And it's just really straightforward that way. So now that you know a little about me, let's look at this process, and I'm going to break it down into its core three sections here. And let's answer the questions. Is everyone sharing a consistent story? Well, in the first part it's my power story. So we are going to get clear on your brand's purpose. Why are you working? How is money made? We're going to create a story that really is all about what you're offering to the world, but we're going to write it in a way, we're going to create it in such a way that we are leveraging your ideal customers, we are using archetypes, we are positioning your business all in a way that you automatically connect with your audience, your ideal customer, in a way that's meaningful to them. And when we ask, what do my customers expect? Well, we're going to go ahead and design a branded connection. If your customers expect a website that's easy to use, we want to design a website that looks like it belongs to you and it's easy to use. If your customers expect a physical location and people that are friendly, then we're going to go ahead and design a live user experience, customer experience, that facilitates everything they expect and helps your employees raise the bar so that you really stand out. It's only by understanding what's expected that we can then design the perfect solution and build it, whether that's a website, a storefront, a product, an app. By understanding where you want to go and what people expect, we can design the perfect solution. And last, how does my brand grab attention? Well, we're going to go ahead and share your branded expression. And that's where it comes down to actually building the things that we design. So if it's that storefront, maybe it's designing tables that fit in that space perfectly. Maybe it's designing the outfits that your employees wear to interface with customers that tell them that you belong there. I think of Apple and the Apple shirts, right? People understand when you walk in, look for someone in that shirt. That's a design thought and then a branded expression that represents a solution to help people reach what they want to do. So let's go ahead and break these down a little bit more, and you'll start to see how this fits one on top of each other. It's like Legos, they stack really well. So to get clear on your brand's purpose, that is my power story. That is the first thing that we're doing, that is all about telling your story. And really right off the bat, we're going to figure out how money is made. What have you done? What is working? How is money made? Are people upsold on anything? Are there additional things you can offer? Where is that going? It's really getting clear on what's going on in your business. And then discovering who your ideal customers are. We want to target the ones who are absolutely ideal for you, the ones who make the most sense, the ones who could be easy sells because they understand and align with who you are and what you're doing. And then we're going to go ahead and create that story that connects. And all of this information as part of my power story comes in a report called my action report, I think it's called. It's very simple stuff here, but it works because all of that, when it's taken in this report and given to you, can be implemented in your company, in your marketing, in so many different places. So having that report is ideal so you can start building on it. Next, to build a branded connection is creative alignment. And this is where we are going to go ahead and explore your direct and indirect competition. We're going to uncover customer perception insights. Again, what are they expecting? What do they want to see? What do they need to see? Well, how do you support them? How do you surprise them? And the output of this is a big picture clarity. I call it a brandscape. It's really a big, huge step, 300-foot back look at what your brand could look and feel like to your customers that would appeal to them. And last is sharing your branded expression, which is the core of behavioral branding, where we align your marketing, your website, your digital marketing, your ads, all that stuff with business goals, making sure that they are delivering on business goals first. And then we create a brand expression system. And then we apply the brand expression system to all the touch points, right? So we first come up with this big picture and creative alignment, and then we make sure that that aligns with business goals, and then start creating all the different pieces that take that expression and apply it to all the different touch points. So here's just all of that brought together, getting clear on your purpose, how is money made, discover ideal customers, and a story that connects. What do my customers expect? Design a branded connection, explore the competition, and with that competition, you can uncover perception insights, which gives big picture clarity. And last, how does my brand grab attention? Well, we share your branded expression. We make sure it's aligned with business goals, getting more customers, getting more sales, getting more appointments, whatever that looks like for you. We create a brand expression system so that everything we do makes sense as you keep moving forward and it remains consistent. And then we just apply that expression to everything that you want, everything that you can build, everything you do. And that consistency makes you the brand who does what you do to your customers. That's the key, is making sure it stays consistent. Now on my website, you're going to see this graphic, and this graphic is the same thing. It breaks it down in a slightly different way, but you can see brand purpose is on the left, brand connect, and brand expression there on the right. And you can see how My power story, creative alignment, and behavioral branding all sort of stack on one another to get the next pieces. And I do want to state that when you have the brand connect finished and you're moving on, we're moving on to behavioral branding. Brand identity is included in behavioral branding because that's part of your brand expression system. So when we're sharing your branded expression, we're going to build a brand identity expression system, which is, you know, it's 3 logo options with 2 rounds of revisions. We create a defined color palette, a pattern, and a brand expression guide so you know how to apply all of this in your business in the different pieces moving forward. And included in behavioral branding is 6 sessions of brand coaching. So that could be monthly, bi monthly, or weekly, guaranteed 60 to 90 minutes because I've worked with some coaches myself who are like, oh well, it'll be an hour appointment, and 20 minutes later they're like, yeah, we're done, so I'll see you later. And I that made me feel so bad, like I wasn't worthy of their time. So I'm guaranteeing 60 to 90 minutes each time. And this may feature rapid transformation therapy or magnetic mind coaching techniques for subconscious reprogramming. A lot of this has to do with mindset work, how you view yourself, how you view your identity and the identity of your business, the identity of your products, your services, the identity of your positive growth, and really trying to help you broaden your mind to know that all of this that we are building, all of this through my power story, creative alignment, and behavioral branding, is absolutely moving you on the correct path forward. And as soon as you start tracking the numbers and tracking the values on it, you see how really exciting it does. It absolutely does work. Now, all the other touch points, websites, emails, here we go. Websites, emails, videos, social media, brand experiences. This is all stuff that comes after behavioral branding. It's part of behavioral branding, but it comes after because all of this stuff requires very specific solutions and requires, bringing on more people into my team so they can work with you directly to make sure you get the answers you need to do these things. Brand experiences, I mean, I've worked on trade show booths where it absolutely needed very certain graphics, very certain sizes, very certain things to represent the brand, and it's very much a specialist thing. But here's what I'm going to go ahead and tell you. If you are spending between where is it? If you spend between $15,000 to $150,000 on marketing annually, if you are spending time on copywriters, on marketing, on digital marketing, on designers, on videographers, if you're spending somewhere in that range on marketing annually, this process will save you money. The behavioral branding process will save you money because it keeps your brand consistent. A lot of times, service providers for websites, email campaigns, social media videos, marketing agencies, trade show companies, they are all kind of approaching your brand from different perspectives. Sort of the trouble with the 5 people and the elephant, right? The 5 people each, one touches an ear, one touches a leg, one touches the side, one touches the tail, and they all define the elephant as something different. Oh, I touched the ear, it's sort of big and floppy. I touched the leg, it's sort of like an elephant is like a tree. One touches the side of it, and so no, an elephant's like a wall. A guy who touches the tail says, oh, the elephant is like a snake. Well, when you're doing websites and emails and videos and all these different things with different vendors, your brand sort of drifts. It's not consistent. It doesn't have the same appeal unless you are a brilliant director, unless you're somebody who keeps all these people in line exactly with what you think the brand should be. And then I'm going to ask you, what happens if you aren't there to supervise it? Well, behavioral branding is all about systemizing this expression, systemizing how things should look and appear and result, and that's easier on you. It saves you time and energy so that all of these different things are consistent and within the system, and you don't have to supervise it. You don't have to babysit it or any of the vendors as they build it out because they just need to follow the brand expression guide. So, jumping back at this, looking at this, saying, okay, well, here is the bridge that we are building then to get clear on the story, to get clear on the pictures that go with the story and what people expect, and then building all this stuff to really launch into this new brand, you can see that really now is a good time for branding. Because when we put that in play in space here, it's like reverse engineering what this target audience needs to hear, what they really want in the world. So, boom, it just takes right off. That's the reason that, that point, is it a good time? That is a perfect time for branding because that launches into something completely new. So, what is the process like? And here's where I'm going to show you 3 different case studies of what the process is like for behavioral branding. And behavioral branding, again, we are aligning business vision, values, and really the vitality, the longevity of your business, and to really transform your brand. So, the action points, what we're going to go through here is really the steps in these 3 processes. Define ideal customers, create a story that connects, uncover action insights, explore differentiation, align with business goals, create the brand expression system, and then apply to all the touch points. And the first example is the Bartender by Siegel Scientific. Siegel Scientific is an enterprise software company out of Bellevue, Washington, and I had the honor of working with them for several years to redevelop this entire brand, the Bartender brand, from something that looked like it belonged in the 80s to something that is more contemporary and fun. And I helped them refine processes to really get in and making this a much more profitable company. They had a huge amount of growth after this, like 148% growth when we did this rebranding and launched it. So the first step is defining ideal customers and getting to the core of who the audience is, getting to the core of what the business is. And we did this through this process. These are actual photos from this process that are using sticky notes. This is the way that we think through this, so that everybody has a say. It all is valid, and we are learning huge amounts of insights from this. Next, in creating the story that connects, you can see my action plan is the report that was given to them. We developed 4 different customer avatars, 4 different personas, 4 different people that we need to speak to through the story so that it really connects and they can sell more product. We also developed an opportunity matrix that shows us, where are the strengths of our biggest competition? What are they targeting? We developed a persona identification map, that's that middle picture there, that shows where our 4 avatars are in terms of business size, business needs, scale, and authority to actually do something. We also looked at a unified company vision that so that we can understand, in this growth, what are we actually focusing on? Where do we want to put our investments in the next steps? And that helped us create this brand bridge that showed how the vision, how the goals, how what we were doing applied both inside the company and outside the company, and how creating an alignment in those actually was taking steps toward long-term tactical goals and building the community internally that they want to build. So this is all part of that very first part, my power story, that is that was all sitting down with the post-it notes and walking through these exercises. And the next was exploring differentiation. So we looked at their competition. I'm just showing you guys some websites here. But we looked at their competition, what they were doing, how they were providing information, what they were talking about, how they were talking about it, so that we could position Bartender in a unique, novel way that really stood out against all of that. And we created some mood boards and some brandscapes that really spoke to all of that so that we could just kind of present the best picture going forward. And then we started to look at the brand expression system, and which involves research into what used to be, like the brand that it used to be and has grown from. And this is from the top to the bottom are the different logos that Bartender has used over the years. And it's just sort of gotten kind of complicated and touchy. And so the process that we used is just lots and lots of logos targeted in a certain direction, really thinking about what we wanted to do with it in all those different aspects. And the final solution is Bartender by Siegel Scientific. It's clean, it's modern, it's easy to read, it functions well in lots of different spaces. It can be turned into one color or two color or three color very easily, which gives it a lot of variability in different production methods. We created uh, logo guideline sheets that handed out to the employees so they knew how to use the logos, as well as a brand book so the marketing team and the sales team really knew how to apply all of that information. Of course, we did some stationary stuff and using a new set of symbols, new typefaces, new colors, which went to packaging and CDs, DVDs, advertisements, digital ads, case study reports, and books. In total, all of their materials were presented in 23 different languages. So every single product that we designed for them, all of the sheets, all of the pages, case studies, you name it, all had to be presented in 23 different languages total. So it was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun to work on this and really hone that brand so that it had an idea behind it that stood out. And of course, we also worked internally with the company to create flyers and graphics that enthused the employees to be there, that so that they felt appreciated. I worked with their HR department in order to build out all of the events with enough graphics and things that actually made sense, but also they became something that the employees identified with just an amazing experience, an amazing employer, and every time they saw something like this, they knew, oh, I want to be part of that because this is what's being brought to us from the company. And because of this work, the company expanded in 3 different locations. They opened new offices in Taipei, in Madrid, and in Bellevue, and new signage up everywhere, values really posted everywhere so everyone could get aligned with what was going on. It was just a tremendous success for branding to see all of this stuff come together and influence culture in a really positive way in a corporate environment. So the next case study is the Kraken's Cup, and the Kraken's Cup is this nice little tea garden and eclectic eatery identity logo right here. And this started with a live session working through the same process, the same methods of My Power Story, and getting clear on the ideal customers, getting clear on the business, just really transferring knowledge from the business owner into our team so that we can take that information and do some real awesome stuff with it. And that is, my action plan is that awesome stuff. So you can see at the top we have a customer avatar. We developed brand archetype language. We also did some positioning stuff to figure out, how do they want to be seen. And then we worked with goals and to really orient, how do we increase awareness? How do we increase revenue? How do we increase efficiency? We looked at ways that the business was interested, but from our experience for 25 years, we also threw in a lot of ideas that they didn't even come up with. And that's part of the fun part of this too. We also looked at the competition and what they were doing as far as tea stores and tea shops. And of course, there's a Starbucks on there because Starbucks is a competitor to all these kind of mom and pop stores. And we just want to see the sort of language that they were sharing and what they were talking about. Join the conversation so that we can start a new one of our own, right? We looked and saw what they were doing on Facebook, on TripAdvisor, and just a bunch of different social media sites to really explore and choose our differentiation with purpose, with intention. And then we looked at the business goals, and this is what you're looking at here is actually an empathy board. An empathy board is looking at the sort of feelings and emotions that we want to pull out of our customers, as well as the sort of influences that we see that they are having and that the customers may be also seeing, so that we can design around this and create something that feels like it fits in their world. Right? That's behavioral branding. If it fits and it feels natural to them, they're more likely to associate that brand, that image, that feel with something in their mind that is something they enjoy. Words and pictures get locked into emotions and feelings, and that's how the brain creates a memory. So by combining all of these things, we actually create more powerful memories. And then we looked at other ways that people are using this expression in terms of, for the Kraken's Cup, these are all little octopus things. And each of these are mood boards here. There's 3 different mood boards. And what you're seeing is, on the left, what we ended up going with is sort of this mishmash sort of potluck of ideas and looks and feels that felt fun. It felt not too serious, and we really wanted to go for that because it's more entertaining to see all the different variations of things. Versus on the far right hand side, what you're seeing is actually uh, octopus tiles, octopus plates, octopus ties, octopus. You name it, it's everywhere. It's sort of the Disney solution to how things are done. Let's see how many times we can hide our symbol effectively everywhere and see who it impacts. And that's a huge investment for a company versus on the left hand side, it's less of an investment because you're investing in the fun, in the variability of what people see. And then this is a style test. I call it a brandscape to show what are the different ways that we can show this business, and this is where we decide if this aligns with business goals. On the top, what you see is the Kraken's Cup presented as sort of a modern, artsy kind of flair, tea shop library. It's very energetic. It's very high frequency. It's very fun and bright. But that feel did not align with how our client saw the Kraken's Cup growing. She wanted to have a little bit more of the Victorian appeal, nice parchments and things, different colors that go into it that really pull it into something a little bit more English. And I see English, like English tea was her concept. So we went a little bit darker with that brandscape, and you can kind of, looking at the two, imagine a business that looks and feels like the top one. It's pretty. It would be very nice. And then if you stop and picture a business that looks like the bottom one, it's also very nice, but it's very different. And that's how we are determining what aligns with business goals, where we're going, what aligns with the vision, and where things are growing into. And having this big picture vision helps us take the next steps in a very specific, orderly direction. In this case, this is to create the brand expression system, and our client. These are the these are the notes the client gave us before we actually started designing anything. The colors at the top are colors that are paint swatches that she was using for the location and really wanted those in the logo. And it's tough to match paints with logos, but we went ahead and did the best we could. The middle here is the clay sculpture is something she sculpted herself, and she wanted the logo to be that. She wanted the logo to be this octopus character with a top hat and holding a teacup. And she had hired designers before, and what you see here are the other designers' attempts to create that feel without any further direction, just drawing or creating a logo for that. And on the bottom is looking at her brandscape, looking at our research that we did for her business and what she was growing and the style that she was going for. We actually recommended something a little bit more like these old school kind of signs and something like out of the early 1900s that kind of felt a little bit more fun and playful, so it wasn't going to be so detailed, and really just creating a system that works with all these extra points and things, which meant taking the octopus out of the focus and adding it as an accessory so that the words could still stand alone. And that's exactly what we created for her. We went ahead and created the Kraken's Cup as a logo with variations, but also a system out of it so that the Kraken's Cup could we could actually lose the Kraken and still have the Kraken in the Kraken's Cup logo as it went smaller. And then we created a brand guide to really show her how to use this in different locations online so that it scales appropriately. And then applying that to touch points, you can see we have a tent card for a table with the Kraken on top. We have a nice to-go bag that has the saucer and the cup with the Kraken's Cup. And I love these shapes going down the side and the colors. These are the colors that she chose as her paint swatches, so we're just representing the color and her brand again through all of these patterns and things. Some snacks to go and some tea containers to go. Right in line with everything she was doing. At one point, she asked about shirts, so we went ahead and said, okay, well, here's how we kind of picture your brand on a shirt. Here's how it might look. Here's how you might do things. And if you wanted to spice that up more, maybe something that wraps around and you can have fun with it. And when it's time, absolutely, we want to do some advertising that says, it's time for tea. Come on down, Kraken's cup. So that's how all these things can apply, not just at a logo level, a design level, but using all of these pieces from a big picture and then honing it on down to really build that big picture a piece at a time. It's like atomically, small piece at a time, but we understand where we're going with the big picture. And the last case study I'm going to show you is for May. It's Dr. Carrie Logan. And Dr. Carrie Logan started with same exact process, same exact way, with all these post-it notes, doing things, working with me and a couple others to really figure out her ideal customers, what she wants to say, what she wants to do. And in her action plan, we looked at her ideal customer, who's the woman who is coming in for health issues of some kind. We looked at Maslow's hierarchy of needs to see, are you needed in what you're offering? How can you be needed? And then using that with her archetype to position her business in competition with everybody else, but in a way that is unique to her. And again, really trying to figure out, how will her business grow awareness? How will it grow revenue? How will it grow efficiency? Each of these things helps the business take steps forward. And then again, we explored differentiation by looking for searches. Who was looking for naturopaths? Who was looking for acupuncturists? Who was looking for holistic health? By understanding how many searches these were, we helped her choose some of the words and choose her name for herself. That was something that stood out. And then we looked on Facebook and everywhere else where we could find people that were doing similar things so that we could show her, if everybody is turning left, maybe we turn right. If everybody zigs, let's zag. Let's do something that is intentional that helps you stand out. And again, here's 3 empathy boards where we are looking at, who are her customers? What are they wearing? What are they experiencing? What are they seeing? How do they feel? What are the colors they're around? How do we take advantage of that to really either stand out or build on the trends of what somebody else is doing in a way that others in your field aren't doing, so that we can capitalize on it in the best way? And here are the brandscapes that were presented. Again, I don't present a brandscape that is not workable. Both of these are absolutely beautiful options for May integrative medicine, which ended up turning into May transformation, which ended up turning into May mind body. And that's the process of working with this stuff. That's the process of business, is figuring out what words to use that make the most sense to your customers. And you can see on the top here, the blues, the greens. It is a beautiful, it just feels like a spring, a fresh spring of water bubbling over, and health and vitality. And I love it. And on the bottom is a little bit more polished sort of setting with chairs, a little bit more polished with products and website. But bright colors, and really talking a lot to positive mindset and positive growth, and looking at all additional things that she could offer to create subscriptions and benefits. That was all part of the discussion that is expressed through the bottom brandscape. And that's actually where she went. She said, I really like this dynamic. I like the contrast. I like the punches of color, and I really like the deep green. She really liked green. So that was what we used as our basis to create a brand expression system. So we designed the May logo and the brand guide that says, here's how we talk about ourselves. Here's how we showcase ourselves. Here's the patterns that we use, the words that we use. And then we applied it to all the touch points, business cards, letterhead, digital letterhead, her website. It looks and feels like that brandscape because we thought of that big picture first, and then we start finding the ways to apply it in all of the designs, that we start making smaller and smaller, easier and easier decisions. And then, of course, to her social media feeds and flyers. And in her case, we actually developed, she was developing these great handmade products. And we're like, we should match with your brand, with all the stuff we're doing. Let's make sure that it all ties in and feels familiar as a family, so people understand when they buy this and they see your website, it's just reinforcing your brand. So that's behavioral branding. That is my power story with creative alignment and behavioral branding as the big product here. Um, so if you are a business owner, if you're a CEO and you're still with me now, it's been almost 55 minutes, and you're saying, this is fantastic. This is what I want to get my brand, my business to the next level. You know, this is what we're doing. Leverage behavioral branding to transform your brand. Define your ideal customers, create a story that connects, explore differentiation, uncover insights, align with business goals, create a brand expression system, and then apply that system to all the touch points. And this is really a radical approach if you're one of those people that in the past has been like, well, I need a website, so I'm going to go find a guy. Well, I need business cards, I'm going to go find a guy. And, I need marketing, I'm going to go find a person. I need something else, I'm going to go find another person. And maybe you've seen how all of those people view your brand differently and support it differently, and you may have a dozen looks and feels out in the world, a dozen different messages, and maybe that's why it's time for you to unify all of that with behavioral branding to create the kind of momentum, the kind of growth, the kind of 10x scaling you need by systemizing your brand so that everything moving forward, again, is easier and easier because all of this is already locked down in a way that is reflective of who you want to be, of what you want to build, and why you are building it. So if this is a yes for you, if you are excited about this and you're interested in this, there is a button right below this video or a link right below this video somewhere. I want you to go ahead and click that. That is for an alignment call with me, Jeremy Tank, and we're going to go ahead and talk about your business on that call. We're going to talk about the vision that you have, where you're going, what you've been doing, what has worked, what hasn't worked. And I want to understand where you are in your business to see if behavioral branding is truly going to be the right step for you, because I don't want to work with someone who is not ready to take that leap, who is not ready to invest in their business, to invest in their future, to invest in their employees, to invest in longevity, to invest in the things that make a difference in growing your business. That's what it's about. That's the exciting piece of this, creating a dent in the universe by taking these steps and leaping into it. And I understand that business is a risk, which is the reason this alignment call is making sure it's right for both of us. And if I hear, that you are the right person to take these leaps, that you are wanting this sort of transformation, this sort of growth for your business, then we can go ahead and discuss timelines and cost, what it means. Maybe we just start with my power story and we say, does this work? Are you excited about this? Does this make sense? And then at the end of that, you're like, yes, I want to continue on and continue on and continue on to get this whole thing done. Or maybe on the flip side of that, you are looking at your business right now thinking, well, man, I really need these dozen things: a website, videos, social media, business cards, flyers, all these different things. Maybe you need packaging, maybe you need product design. We can bring that all together in just this single behavioral branding process. Start from a wide shot and continually narrow it down with all these decisions, which just makes it easier and easier, faster and faster, because every decision is straightforward based on the direction we're going. So again, if you're excited about that, if this feels good to you, if you want to participate, if you want to see that growth for your business, if you are ready to take this leap, go ahead and click that button down below or that link down below and schedule an alignment call. I look forward to speaking with you. And if you have any questions, reach out to me on any of these platforms, and I will look forward to speaking with you. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.